Once upon a time, there was a kind and beautiful girl named Cinderella. She lived with her stepmother and two stepsisters. They were very mean to her. They made her do all the housework, cleaning, cooking, and washing. While they wore fancy clothes and rested all day, Cinderella had to wear old clothes and sleep near the fireplace. That's why they called her Cinderella. Even though her life was hard and lonely, Cinderella stayed kind, gentle, and full of hope. One day, a message came from the king's palace. The king was having a big royal ball so that the prince could find a bride. Every young woman in the kingdom was invited to the ball. Cinderella's stepsisters were very excited. They got new dresses and asked Cinderella to help them get ready. She brushed their hair, polished their shoes, and helped them look their best. "Can I go to the ball too?" Cinderella asked, but the stepsisters laughed and said, "You? In those rags? You can't go to the ball." That night, after her stepsisters left for the ball, Cinderella sat alone and cried. Just then, a warm, magical light filled the room, and a kind old woman appeared. "I am your fairy godmother," she said. "You shall go to the ball." She waved her magic wand. Suddenly, Cinderella's dirty rags turned into a beautiful shining gown. Her worn shoes turned into sparkling glass slippers. A pumpkin outside became a golden carriage, and the mice turned into fine horses. "But remember," said the fairy godmother, "this magic lasts only until midnight. When the clock strikes 12, everything will return to normal." Cinderella thanked her and rode off to the ball in the golden carriage. At the palace, everyone turned to look when Cinderella walked in. She looked so lovely, no one recognized her, not even her stepsisters. The prince was amazed by her beauty and asked her to dance. All night long, they danced together. The prince couldn't take his eyes off her, and Cinderella was happier than ever. Suddenly, the clock began to strike 12. Cinderella remembered what the fairy godmother said and ran away as fast as she could. As she rushed down the palace steps, one of her glass slippers fell off, but she didn't stop. She jumped into her carriage, which quickly turned back into a pumpkin. Her dress turned back into rags. Everything was gone, except for the one glass slipper she still had. The next day, the prince searched the kingdom for the girl whose foot fit the tiny glass slipper. Every girl tried it on, but it didn't fit anyone. Finally, the prince arrived at Cinderella's house. The stepsisters tried hard to make it fit, but the slipper was too small. Then Cinderella came forward. Her stepmother tried to stop her, but the prince said she could try too. Cinderella gently slid her foot into the glass slipper. It fit perfectly. The prince looked at her closely and knew she was the girl from the ball. He asked her to marry him, and she said yes. They had a grand wedding, and Cinderella became a princess. She forgave her stepmother and stepsisters but never let them treat her badly again. She and the prince lived happily ever after, and Cinderella was never lonely or sad again.